also, if you want to record the meeting, put in that request in the chat box or deal directly with Cynthia, and she'll push whatever button she needs to allow it to be recorded. At this time, we have our agency reports. First up, Los Angeles County Sheriff Resident Deputy Martinez.
Evening, Don. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. So for the month of last month, March, I had to think about that for a second. We had 2 Part 1 crimes and 1 property crime, bringing our total for the year to 3 Part 1 crimes and 15 total crimes against property, which is a 50% reduction over last year for, at this time of year, for Part 1 crimes, but a 25% increase in property crimes. We had 150 calls for service in Agua Dulce for March, and that's pretty much about it. Just it's not so much a big issue on the Agua Dulce side, but just a reminder that the only places you can legally ride HOVs or dirt bikes is over Ralph Flats or on your own property, but not just on the hillsides, or if they are going to be on the road, they have to be registered and all that good stuff. You guys got anything for me?
Anybody have any questions? If not, thank you very much for the report. We appreciate you keeping tabs on the community and keeping us informed.
Yep.
Next up, we have California Highway Patrol report from, I believe it's Officer Delgado.
You know what? He's not here tonight. It's going to be Officer Glauser. Nice to see you guys all again.
You were here before. Now you guys are flip-flopping on us.
So we're flip-flopping, you know.
That's good.
We're dividing and conquering. So thanks for having us.
All right.
Last month, in a nutshell, we were just trying to keep up with the weather. The bounteous rains that were sent our way were also created a lot of problems for us all over the place. So we managed to get through that, and grateful to see more moisture come our way. In terms of enforcement, we had a total of 2 arrests in the Agua Dulce area. One was for a stolen vehicle, and the other one was for a DUI. We issued a total of 41 citations in the month of March, which is pretty good. It's about on average there. Previous months you've seen a little bit more. We'll probably see some more coming up with the warm season coming up upon us, but pretty average month. And I don't think I have anything other than that. Does anybody have any questions or concerns they want to bring up to the CHP?
Okay. Anybody have any questions there for the officer? If not, we thank you for taking the time to give us the update, and look forward to either you. Is it going to be you, or is it going to be Delgado as?
It'll be both of us until about July, and then I'll be switching elsewhere. But yeah, you'll be seeing a little bit of both of us.
Great.
So.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Los Angeles County Fire Department report from Maria Grycan. Maria?
Good evening, everybody. For the month of March, we had 40 total responses in Agua Dulce. 2 of those were for fires. One was a trash fire, both on the 14th freeway. One was a trash fire, one was a vehicle fire. We had 29 medical calls, 1 service call, and 8 good intent calls. Firefighters are going to start their annual brush inspections on May 1st in Agua Dulce. I know on the agenda, Mary had added a little sub thing on the agenda for Zone 0 survey. I'm not sure what that is. There was a survey about Zone 0 that was put out. I know Mary had found out about it. She had put it out. We didn't know that much about it until the day before the survey was to expire. But I did find out from CAL FIRE that they were adding something to the Board of Forestry website for people to be able to register their email address to be notified directly when there was anything pertaining to AB 3074, which is that Zone 0 5 foot, the 5 foot ember resistant zone. Coming up in the fall, they are going to have another 45-day comment period. So as soon as I find out, I've been looking on the Board of Forestry's website trying to find this register link. I can't find it yet, so I'm going to get more clarification on that, and then I will get the word out to have people register their email addresses so that they can get notified immediately when that public comment period is coming up in case they want to issue some public comments. And they'll also be putting out more information as it becomes available as to this 5-foot ember resistant zone. So I know there's still a lot of questions in various communities about exactly what that is. So just trying to find a way to get more information out to the communities.
Okay, so to be clear, it hasn't been defined, therefore they really aren't going to be enforcing that zero space until there's more discussion about it. Is that correct?
Correct. It is not, the zone zero is not being enforced during this year's brush inspections. So we are going to use the opportunity to educate property owners and let them know as much as we know about it. I mean, something is going to happen with that 5-foot zone. We just don't know exactly what it is, but we want to make sure that property owners are aware that this is coming. It will it will not be enforced until at least next year, possibly even 1 year after that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, sounds good. Anybody have any questions for Maria?
I do. Maria, it's Chris. What happened to the rollout of Zone Haven? Well, that tells me everything.
There you go. I'm actually going to have a conversation with OEM in the next couple of days to find out where the county is. I know on the Agua Dulce side, I'm pretty set and okay with how Agua Dulce looks on Zone Haven. So we're pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to find out from OEM exactly where we are and where they are and how close we are to launching.
Is the goal still to have a chat to us about some realistic names for the different zones around Agua Dulce, or are they just going to be set by OEM or Denoma?
Oh no, they were set by me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were set by me. You know what? But that's a good point, because I do think that my intention was to send all of that out to Mary to get it out to everybody. And honestly, I don't think that I did that. I think I did a pretty good job of naming the zones, but let me get them to you and Mary and the rest of the board to get your eyes on it. And if you guys have any suggestions, there is still time. I can still change some of the names if you feel that there's an area that's named better than what I came up with.
Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for Maria? All right. Well, thanks for the update, Maria, and I look forward to hearing from you next meeting.
All right.
Thank you. Next up, we have Librarian Jim Wall. Jim, are you with us tonight?
Good evening. I am here tonight.
Right.
Nice to see you guys. So we got a bunch of programming going on at the library for all different age groups. Just go ahead and check out the website for those. Just click the events tab and you'll see everything going on. You can filter it by library to see specifically what's going on at our library. I am going to mention that on the 22nd and 23rd of this month, so what is that, next weekend, we have our Friends of the Library book sale, and then there's also a craft fair associated with that. So come on by, pick up some books, support some of those local vendors too who will be there. All going to support the library. So we've got that, and then the only other thing I was going to mention, I think Mary asked me about this. Gosh, it was probably 2 years ago when the library first started rolling it out. We now, as of 2 days ago, have been set up with the Park and Connect program. And so what that is it's our Wi-Fi is expanded out into our parking lot. So if you're, for whatever reason, if you need it, you can come on by to the library, hop in the, just park anywhere in the parking lot, and you will have Wi-Fi service from the library. Accept the policy and you're good to go.
Oh, great. That's
okay.
Okay.
So, unless anyone's got questions for me, that's all I've got.
Well, let's see. Let's see if we got it. I don't see any hands up here. I think you're looking clear. Anybody have any other questions for Jim? If not, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So that moves us right along to the 5th District report from Stephanie English from the Board of
Oh,
Supervisors.
whoops. Let me try to remove 2 of me for a second here.
Great.
It's very confusing.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're operational now. Hey, we're clipping along, so I'm going to keep us at that same pace. Good evening. I know we have a lot of county staff on to address a lot of issues, so just a couple quick things from me. At the last couple board meetings, the Department of Economic Opportunity is going to be hosting a community listening session to talk with the community and stakeholders about establishing a permanent outdoor dining program. The supervisor is really encouraging our unincorporated communities to participate in this so that the program is designed around your preferences and not around downtown county preference. There is a link that I'll put in the chat and a phone number for those who want to participate, and the date is April 13th at 9 a.m. There's 3 dates, April 20th at 3 p.m. and I'm reading the wrong dates. 13th, April 20th, and May 2nd at 3 p.m. I'll put that all in the chat. And then at the earlier board meeting, as you know, Supervisor Barger is a real advocate of mental health issues. The board unanimously approved a motion to advance a plan for 500 new secure mental health beds to accommodate the most severely mentally ill in our jails, commonly referred to as the P3, P4 population. It's a report back from the Department of Health Services and Department of Mental Health to figure out how we can operationalize and occupy these beds. Many times the past elected sheriffs have said they run the largest mental health facility in the county and beyond. Twin Towers holds our mentally ill inmates. So there needs to be some solutions to this problem. The department will work with the CEO to finalize a program budget and some staffing for those 500 beds. And it's about 12% of the population, jail population, that we have to be concerned about in that regard. So it's not insignificant. And I think that's all for me, unless there's any questions.
We had a question.
Stephanie, it's Chris. I just want to say thank you for seeing. I can see this long list of names of different people from different parts of LA County staff. Thank you very much for coordinating all that, and thank you to each of those people for taking the time to join us on the call tonight. We're looking forward to hearing what they've got to say.
Chris, thanks for acknowledging that. It's a long, like you said, it's a long list of very hardworking people who work long days, and then they're joining us to support all of you. So I appreciate it as well. Thank you for acknowledging.
Perfect. Any other questions for Stephanie?
Stephanie, did you want to talk about the tree branch and green waste from the snowstorm? The roll-off's going to be placed over at Vasquez Rock?
I think we have somebody on that's going to discuss that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if there's nothing else, we're going to move right along. Thank you very much, Stephanie. All right. Now we have agency. Next agency is the Assembly District. Assemblyman Member Tom Lackey. Carlo Basel. Bring us up to speed. If Carlos here.
I haven't seen him join in yet.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move right on to the Senate District. Senator Scott Wilk. Brandon Roque is his representative here tonight. Brandon?
Haven't seen him yet.
Okay. Well, that moves us right on to the 27th Congressional District. Mike Garcia. Jackie Owens is the one who's going to give us the update tonight.
Haven't seen Jackie.
Okay, that moves us right on to the Santa Clara River Watershed Area Steering Committee, Measure W Watershed Coordinator, Peter Massey. Peter, are you here with us tonight? Okay. Well.
Hey, Don, can we go back to kind of the subcategory categories from Stephanie's report and ask for the different staff members who are here to kind of jump in.
Yeah, I love that. So I think what you're talking about is about the tree branch and green waste debris.
Yeah, let's start with that one.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, this is Josie Gutierrez. My login got cut off, so I wasn't sure if somebody else provided the update. But as far as the tree branch, Public Works got approval to basically provide 2 of the low boy roll-off bins. They're 20 yards, and they will be delivered to the Vasquez Rocks tomorrow morning, and they'll be available for the residents basically starting tomorrow through Sunday. And then, so for this week, that would be the time frame. And then again, the following week, April 20th to the 23rd. Unfortunately, the park is having a large event the weekend after that, so we're not able to secure the 29th. But so April 13th through the 16th, so Thursday through Sunday, and then the following Thursday through Sunday, the 20th to 23rd. We're trying to encourage basically this bins because, you know, they're only 20 yards, even though there's 2 of them. Hopefully residents would only dispose of, you know, storm-related green waste so that it doesn't reach capacity prematurely. The drop-off hours for Thursday, it's from 8:30 in the morning to 6 p.m. And then Friday to Sunday, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And my understanding, I believe, if you see that the bins are reaching capacity or at capacity, if you can please contact Sally McGaughy. I'll put her contact information in the chat, but she's at 626-262-2653. Or you could also reach out to me and I'll see what I can do. But I'll put my information in the chat. That's basically all I have regarding the tree branch green waste information. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions for Josephine?
No, I just wanted to add, Josephine, that we've got some potential volunteers who are going to be over there monitoring to make sure that it's pretty much Acton and Agua Dulce residents only, that it's just green waste. I'm going to officially put it out on our private local social media pages tomorrow morning. But I just want anybody who's doing it to be respectful and get everything in where it belongs. Don't leave the stuff outside. So the Parks Department has to have any cleanup because it just adds to the potential problem. And if we ever try to do this again, and the reason we picked Vasquez Rocks is because we can have a start time and a finish time for the day, and then it's locked up and secure so that there's no random dumping. So if you're over there and you're dumping and you see somebody who shouldn't be there or they're dumping stuff, don't it all together. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, and I thank everybody who had part of it to get it taken care of. So I'm happy that we got it going.
Well, thank you both, Josephine and Mary, for spearheading this whole movement. And we hope it is just green waste only, and possibly in the future, if it's going to happen, possibly we can coordinate with some kind of a chipping service to reduce. That way, if it runs through the chipper, you know it's only green waste, and there's no question. Plus, obviously, the reduced space that it takes up. So we'll see how this goes, but it sounds great. Sounds like a great idea. Thank you, Josephine, for
Thank you.
preparing. Okay. Next up, we have from the LA County staff regarding the illegal commercial trucking business which is apparently located at 13025 Sierra Highway. Is there someone who would like to dive into that?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Herstick. I'm a branch director in the Division of Environmental Health under Public Health. And I've been asked to speak on two different subjects. The first is the trucking company. We do not have an open enforcement case for an illegal storage tank or illegal trucking business at 13025 Sierra Highway. However, we do have an open case for a failing septic system at a location close to 13025. So basically, to bring you up to date, the Department of Public Health received a complaint about a possible failing septic system located at a private property close to the Sleepy Valley Waters water system wells. The complaint alleged that the failing septic system was contributing to the elevated nitrate levels. Our department conducted a number of investigations. We were not able to gain access to the property and was not able to confirm the presence of above ground storage. However, in response to the claims of a possible failed septic system, we sent notification to the property owner, directing the homeowner to investigate the septic system and report their findings back to our department. Unfortunately, the letter was returned as undeliverable, and there were delays in finding an alternate mailing address. We finally did obtain an alternate mailing address. We were able to locate the property owner and provided that notification. There was a series of back and forth responses via email and phone between the property owner and the Department of Public Health. In addition, during that back and forth, there were two separate septic system evaluations that were conducted, one at the request of Sleepy Valley Water System, and the other was at the request of the property owner. Both were forwarded to our department for review. Both evaluations indicated that parts of the steel tank piping and other ancillary components had deteriorated. After multiple attempts in trying to get the property into compliance and with no success, at this point, DPH has submitted the case to the District Attorney's Office, Environmental Crimes and Code Enforcement Section for further enforcement and potential criminal prosecution.
Okay. Any questions or comments that need to be directed to Gary?
Yeah, it's Chris here. I'm actually on the board of the Sleepy Valley Water Company, so I'm very familiar with this.
Yes, you were.
So I appreciate the work that you guys have attempted to do. Part of the challenge that we face is that, we don't get much access to the property either. And, one of the best ways of demonstrating that this is the cause of what we're seeing in our wells is putting some fluorescent dye into the septic and then seeing if we could find that in our well supplies. So we haven't really been able to directly tie this, but certainly the empirical evidence when we look at the nitrate levels in all the adjacent wells is that this is the cause of that nuisance. Clearly, the board of the Sleepy Valley Water Company is concerned because we have certain obligations under the Port of Cologne Water Act to give people clean, potable water. And, after we had the septic pumped in January of 2022, what we saw was that those nitrate levels reduced over a period of time. As the property owner has continued to use the property, they have started to climb. There's been some benefit to the recent rains, but the trend from June last year to March this year is upwards. Is there any way that you can assist us? What we'd like to try and do, and I'd need to talk to my board members about this, but what we don't want to do is deliver water that's above the MCL to our customer base. There's about 55 households, 56 or so, that actually are connected to this water company. Is there any way that, I don't know, the sheriff's department, if the homeowner continues to be resistant to people going onto their property, one of the ways that we can continue to mitigate this risk while all these things play out is to get a septic pumping tank truck in there and empty that tank again, because we will see those nitrates reduce. And it would be great if there's some way that we can work with the county to find a way to get access to that property so we can pump that septic tank when we see those nitrate levels starting to reach critical levels again, so that we can maintain our water supply below that maximum contaminant level for nitrates.
I will look into that matter and get back to you, Chris. I can't give, due to the current status of the investigation, I'm not able to provide additional information on what actions we're taking. I don't want to jeopardize any future actions that might be taken, but we're working with the district attorney's office and trying to figure out ways to bring this property into compliance. But thank you for that suggestion, and we will find out if that's viable.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fix the problem, but it mitigates the nuisance it creates.
Understood. Thank you.
Chris, it's Stephanie. I just want to reiterate, duly noted, and it is a good question. We'll investigate.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for Gary? If not,
Tony Thorpe has his hand up.
oh, Anthony, yes. See that hand? Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to communicate my outrage. This has been going on for months and months and months. I don't know how the supervisor would feel. I don't know how how Gary would feel about showering in somebody else's poop and pee, but it's not a good thing. Also, as you mentioned, Don, the price of having water trucked in is becoming astronomical. Whereas if I could possibly get my water from Sleepy Valley Water Company, I might be able to fit into a fixed income budget. Basically, inaction on these things, not taking, a hard pounding, I don't understand it. I really don't. Why aren't they going after these people with everything they got? Because they're ruining the lives of ordinary folks here in Sleepy Valley. I know it's only 55 households, but it's 55 human beings. And I'm really angry about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Anthony, let me just respond to that to let you know I hear you loud and clear. Once this came to our attention, my office's attention, and the supervisor's attention, we did escalate it, and that's how we've gotten to this position to get the DA involved to begin the enforcement, which is a cumbersome process. Your comments are reasonable and rational and understandable, and we are pushing on this, I assure you. And I like Chris's question because although it takes time, and I myself have to get a new update from the last meeting about what the DA efforts are at this point. So, like Gary said, that can be kind of a sensitive process. But I like Chris's suggestion about how you mitigate in the meantime with a lengthy process. So I hear you, Anthony. I hear you.
Right. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Don, I do. I think I just want to clarify something that Gary said, and that is that public health doesn't have an open case related to the water trucking. The trucking business in Sleepy Valley. I assume some of the other representatives from LA County here, the fire department, etc., are going to comment on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Does somebody else want to pick that up?
So this is Al. My name's Al Yanagisala. Hello, everybody. I am the Assistant Chief of Fire Prevention, Fire Marshal for the County of Los Angeles, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Fire Prevention Division. I should note that Regional Planning, Department of Public Works, Health Hazmat from the Fire Department, and one more.
Zoning?
So Regional Planning. I was actually wrote down Director Hirschstein, who already spoke. So from the Fire Prevention Division on February 24th, Captain Nick Biayev and Captain David Norsworthy visited the residence at 13025 Sierra Highway, red tagged and locked out the above ground 800-gallon diesel fuel tank. At that time, the homeowner cooperated and allowed the two captains to enter the property. On March 10th, Chief Gomez, Captain Norsworthy, and Captain Biayev completed a follow-up inspection at the address with Ms. Armine Shamirian, who's on the call from the Health Hazmat Division. At the time, the owners did not allow Chief Gomez, Captain Norsworthy, and Captain Biayev onto the property, but they did let Armine Shamirian complete a full inspection on behalf of Health Hazmat and for the Fire Prevention Division as well. I have to give kudos to Ms. Shamirian for her ability to convince the owner to let them onto the property and complete that follow-up inspection. I think it's fantastic that you were able to do that, so thank you. The tank, it was still locked out, and there's no fuel left in the tank except for just a little bit of residual at the very bottom. So as of April 10th, County Council does have a file now and will be taking legal action, which entails the filing of a civil complaint, thereafter filing a motion for a preliminary injunction against the property owners and GV Trucking Services. The injunction, in summary, will be a court order enjoining defendants from conducting any unpermitted trucking business and ordering them to abate the building, zoning, and fire code violations. With that, I want to hand it over to my colleagues from, why don't we go over to Health Hazmat?
Okay. All right.
Hi there, this is Armine Shamirian.
Hi.
And if I can get my camera on. My visit again March 10th was successful, and we agreed that I would periodically go back and do an inspection, make sure that the locks are there, the red tag is there. And at one point, I asked them to, I spoke to Janet Gomez, who's the wife, to completely clean the tank, remove any residual that's left in there, for their safety and, of course, the neighborhood safety, too. So I do have an appointment with her Friday the 14th at 9:30 a.m., which I'll go over there and take a look and make sure that the locks are still there, the red tag is still there, no funny business is going on, and then kind of guide her on to maybe helping her remove the remaining residual that's in the tank. So she seems to be cooperative with me, and I let her know that I want to guide her to do the right thing. And so with that, she's very open to that.
Okay, great. Well, that's good. So it sounds like it may come to a successful ending then.
Right. Eventually, her intent is to remove the tank, and it's not something that, will happen overnight, obviously. And I know we've been on her for some time, but she mentioned perhaps selling it to someone, and I said, okay, well, you need to work on that now. Get it so that it's removed. In fact, to make it more secure, I was thinking to disconnect the electrical that's on that pump, and anything else that I can disconnect as far as the piping and stuff like that, work with her on that. But that's her intent. She wants to eventually remove it from her property. How long will that take? You know, I really don't know.
Were they aware of the fact that they had a commercial operation and residentially zoned property?
Yes, they are. They know that. They are aware of it, fully aware of that. I have tried to, you know, let her know that you can't do that. You need to get the proper permits, and, you know, go to the city and try to get permits for grading, permits for the building, permits for having a tank there, which, you know, we all know some of this is not going to be approved, but at least, you know, she'll understand and get educated and see what, you know, what can be done.
This is actually the perfect segue for regional planning who are on the call. Mr. Amir Bashar and Oscar Gomez.
Okay, perfect. They're from the zoning department, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to step in here, we'd sure appreciate your comments also. Thank you, Armin.
Yeah, hi, this is Amir Bashar from Department of Regional Planning. I'm the zoning inspector for the area over there in Edward Olsay. So yeah, we got this complaint. We started enforcing this complaint back in July, this past July of 2022. Couldn't get access to the property at first. Finally gained access and noted that they had several violations, zoning violations on the property, such as illegal construction, oak tree encroachment violations, in the trucking business, obviously. They also have some grading, which I think building and safety is cited for. So I did talk to the husband and wife of the property and let them know that, you know, they can't have the trucking business zone R1. They thought that maybe they can get permits to have that on there. I explained to them you can't get any permits because of the zoning. Since then, they've been pretty uncooperative, and that was about 6 months ago. So I kept going forward on my process, sending more notices, final notice.
That's probably the most expensive zoning there is.
Looks like Mr. Thorpe has a question.
So, yes, Mr. Thorpe.
Yeah, so I've tried to wrap my head around this process because I first reported illegal grading on that property in, I'm going to say, summer of 2021. And when I went back to the Works app, some months later, I noticed that the complaint or the whatever they want to call it had been removed. Subsequently, I saw a fuel truck drive down our street, and we went down there to investigate and saw the people, you know, filling their diesel tank, and that was June 21st of 2022, and I reported that immediately using the Works app. And recently, I went to the Works app, and my complaints have been erased. I can't understand a process that takes so many months.
Yeah.
You know, my neighbor Nancy Tomei has a serious illness. She lives across the street from these people, and the trucks wake her up every morning at 5 o'clock. It's unconscionable that it takes this long, and that it continues like this, and the guy has just escalated and escalated. Last week he had a huge party with a live band, and it was setting off car alarms and rattling windows a block away, and I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. All right, that's all I have to say. I'm just completely frustrated with this process and how it, I'm going to say, doesn't work.
Well, thank you. Amir, would you like to comment on that?
I mean, I think we got that complaint from you back in June. So the first week of July, I was out there trying to make contact with the property owners. And sometimes if you can't get on or make contact the first time, you have to keep trying, and a week or two goes by, and then in this case, it was probably over a month until I went on the property and cited them for the issues, and then we had to give them a month after the letter goes out, and then we have to work with them, and if they're not cooperative, then we have to send another letter. If they don't sign for the letter, then we have to go out and post, and then it takes time. I wish it could be faster than that, but we were definitely on top of it. So.
Amir.
Well, Amir, I do want to say this, that I do appreciate your efforts and the fact that you have responded to us. At least we've gotten replies from you. And
I've been working with Nancy also.
Yeah, I know. She forwards your correspondence to me. I do appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Amir, this is Chris. On the basis that you can't resolve this short of filing a lawsuit, could I request that you forward a copy of that lawsuit to the Agua Dulce Town Council for us to at least be aware of the allegations?
You mean a copy of the notice of violation?
Yes, so I think Al mentioned earlier that there's the possibility that this is going to result in some type of preliminary injunction and a motion before the court at some point, and when that happens, it would be very helpful if we could get a copy of that, so that as we get approached by people
I'll talk to county council or the DA and see what we can provide.
Yeah, once you go on file with the court, it becomes a public document. So I'm not asking you to give us a preliminary copy before anything gets filed. It's once it becomes a live court document, we'd appreciate a copy.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
We also have from the Department of Public Works, Building and Safety, Yosh Morisaka.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Yosh. I'm Section Head for Property Rehab Code Enforcement for Building Safety. I'd like to mention that our inspectors have been out there with the Department of Regional Planning throughout this process, and it does take some time to go through our process to give the property owners it is difficult to get onto the property at times, as Amir has mentioned. For our part, on this particular property, we have cited, once we have been on property, we have cited for unpermitted buildings, grading, electrical, plumbing, for some of the structures that were built without permits. We are working with the DA in certain conferences in conjunction with the Department of Regional Planning, trying to get the property owners to comply. And we do have a meeting with them again in a couple weeks. We'll see how that goes. The civil complaint by the county council that should be filed relatively soon. We'll see what happens after that fact. The county council and the DA's office, they're working together for this case. They're keeping each other abreast of the happenings on site, how they are responding to our complaints, and how they are, whether or not they're trying to comply with all the department's requests. So it truly is a joint effort from all the county staff that you see here. We all are trying to get compliance from the folks on property.
All right, one comment, Josh. This is Don Henry from the town council.
Yes.
If this particular homeowner does make application for permits to inspect, whatever grading or electrical or plumbing, is he going to think that because has an active application or active permit that he's still in compliance, even though he's operating a commercial operation out of a resident, even though he's out of zoning? Or how do you guys view it?
So we would prioritize the hazards as well as the disturbance or the nuisances that are occurring on the property because of what they're doing on site. Obviously fire is going to be the most important. Then the trucking business itself. And after that, I think we could deal with the building safety issues regarding existing structures that they shouldn't have on property. and we're all coordinated in that fact. So we have all the departments working together in conjunction with county council and the DA's office. So we're all keyed into the priorities of the community, as well as the broader community, as well as getting enforcement on these folks.
Okay, great. Well, we sure appreciate you coming to our meeting tonight and bringing us up to speed on exactly what's going on. And we look forward to hearing what kind of response the homeowner has or the landowner has there as far as what his particular disposition is towards the situation. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Don, it's Mary. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. This seems like a really great coordinated effort. I know there's frustration in that it's taken this long, but right now, looking at county staff that is on here and giving us updates, excellent coordinated effort. I appreciate you taking the time to fill us all in.
Okay. And Stephanie's got her hand up.
Just my thanks as well to the county teams. I would say that because this, well, let me back up. Sometimes the county staff, including myself, are as frustrated as the residents because there's a lot of legalities that we have to adhere to that don't allow us to operate as quickly as we would like. So I certainly understand the frustration, but for the county staff, I would say that since these will be ongoing efforts and they will be time-consuming, I'd ask that you please be prepared to come back to the town council meeting with updates. I think that's going to have to be fairly regularly. As you can see, I think it's much more valuable, the community and the town council hearing from you as subject matter experts versus me just reading a report from you. So if you could plan on that moving forward for both the water company and the trucking company. I realize that in a month there may not be significant huge reports, but for them to engage with you and hear from you about what the status is and the timelines, I think will be really helpful. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Stephanie. We appreciate that, and we appreciate being updated as things progress. Okay. With that being said, I think we're going to move on to the next subject. We appreciate all the county staff being here tonight, taking the time out to join us, and we do appreciate hearing what progress you're making, and we'll do anything to support your efforts. Next up, we have looks like Community Wildfire Protection Ordinance. This is supposedly a presentation and discussion. So
Yeah, I think, there's Cameron.
Oh.
Yep. How are you, everyone? Thanks for having us.
Great.
I'm gonna share my screen here. I also, unfortunately, my neighbors decided to start playing some music, so hopefully it's not too disruptive right now.
Okay.
Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yeah, you're looking great.
Okay, perfect. All right, so thanks again for having us tonight. My name's Cameron Robertson, and I'm a regional planner with the Department of Regional Planning, Environmental Planning, and Sustainability section. I'm here with Thuy Hua, supervising planner, also in the Environmental Planning and Sustainability section. So we're here today to discuss the revised draft Community Wildfire Protection Ordinance and to provide a summary of the proposed amendments to Title 21 Subdivision Code and Title 22 of the Planning and Zoning Code. So we're just going to quickly go over the project details to provide some information on the background of the project, the applicability, the proposed changes to Title 21 of the Subdivision Code, Title 22 of the Zoning, Planning and Zoning Code, particularly in relation to the Hillside Management Area Ordinance update, project schedule and next steps, and then we're going to have some project links and a quick Q&A at the very end. So the Community Wildfire Protection Ordinance has been developed in response to a February 2020 motion by the Board of Supervisors to address adequate evacuation egress during wildfire events, to improve public safety, and to reduce risks to development located in the very high fire hazard severity zone. So this project received grant and project support from the Community Planning Assistance for Wildfire Program, also known as CPAW program, to assess the current county protocols and regulations and provide recommendations to improve wildfire protection, adaptation, and resilience. So the ordinance is based on the CPAW recommendations as well as the Woolsey Fire After Action Report. And we've worked closely with Fire and Public Works to ensure that the ordinance strategically addresses wildfire risks as they pertain to land use issues. So the ordinance applies to new development in the unincorporated county located in the very high fire hazard severity zone. The ordinance particularly applies to proposed subdivision development in areas with only a single means of access. The ordinance also applies to areas in the existing hillside management area where terrain is 25% slope or steeper. And the ordinance specifically pertains to development proposed on very steep terrain with 50% slopes or steeper. So the ordinance will apply to new applications that are submitted after the effective date of the ordinance. It's not retroactive. So to give you a high-level picture of what the ordinance proposes, here are a few highlights to the amended code language. So the ordinance amends Title 21 to reduce the number of parcels that can be created through subdivision in the very high fire hazard severity zone with only a single means of access. So for example, currently 75 units are allowed on a single means of access in a very high fire hazard severity zone, and language has been included to say 75 units or 25 parcels, whichever is less. And this is to account for state law regarding ADUs. There's also language to strengthen road access requirements. And the ordinance requires the analysis of evacuation routes as part of the tentative map application. So to briefly summarize some of the major changes from the previous draft, we're requiring that 2 or more access ways must be provided at the time of development in order for a subdivision to obtain the maximum amount of units. Streets shall be ungated unless required for public safety. Waivers and modifications to access and frontages must be authorized by the Board of Supervisors, and a fuel modification plan must be submitted at the time of a tentative map application. So for Title 22, the ordinance amends the existing hillside management area ordinance, which again applies to terrain with 25% slope and steeper. The ordinance proposes a conditional use permit requirement for new primary use development on slopes 50% or greater. The ordinance also provides additional standards for site planning, road circulation, building design, and landscaping. And the standards aim to address issues of mid-slope development, fuel ladders, and the ability for fire personnel to protect structures. So these structures are also directed towards other hazards such as flooding and landslides, which can be exacerbated particularly after fire. So here's a brief summary of the major changes from the previous draft, including the requirement for a conditional use permit for new primary use development located on terrain with 50% slope or steeper. We added definitions for wildfire hazards and terminology, such as wildfire hazard, wildland-urban interface, and additional terms. And we also incorporated design measures to strategically plant native oaks to also act as fire screens. So the document was released for initial public review and comments. You can still access it, review the ordinance, and provide comments. We took it to Regional Planning Commission at the beginning of March, and it has been continued to June 14th. The ordinance after the Regional Planning Commission, if it is recommended for adoption, it will need to go to the Board of Supervisors for essentially intent to adopt, and then it'll have to come back to the Board of Supervisors for consent. We're aiming for winter of 2023 so that it can go into effect 2024. So to review the project maps, or download the draft ordinances, you can go to our project website at planning.laccounty.gov/site/climate/CWP. You can also submit questions on the draft ordinance, or if you have any questions or comments, you can contact us at our project email, safety@planning.lacounty.gov.
I thought this presentation was actually going to be a little bit shorter yesterday than it's turned out to be today. So I apologize that it might take me about 15 to 20 minutes to get through this, but I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can. Okay. So am I successfully sharing my screen now?
Not yet. We still see your face.
Okay. All right.
There we go. I started sharing. Looks like it's warming up. There we go.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a few things that I want to try and cover off tonight. They're in the agenda. Middle of March, the council submitted their comments on these petitions that people had filed back in March last year to the California State Water Board. I want to go through some of the topics in that letter. Some of the information that RTG shared in January and March in their response has raised a question about whether there's some unpermitted grading that's going on at the project site, and I'll be more specific about that. We have, as we discussed earlier, received a reply from Travelers Insurance about the construction bonds, and I think that's concerning. And I think there are some things that we as a council need to discuss at the end of all this and figure out what we want to do. So, without getting into the weeds, I mean, there's a 50-page reply to the Water